Have questions and concerns about COVID-19? Contact the Ministry of Health and Wellness, 888-1LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. You may also use 888-754-7792, 876-542-5998, 876-542-6007, 876-542-6006, or 876-542-5998. Emails to covid19@moh.gov.jm or jacovid19facts@gmail.com will give you access to credible information about the coronavirus. Remember, your health is your responsibility, so be sure to practice the safety tips you've garnered from the official Ministry of Health and Wellness sites. Our program continues with more useful information, followed by the news.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, March 16. The 7 and 8 miles community of Bull Bay in St. Andrew is now under quarantine to contain the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19. This means access to and from the communities will be restricted for the next 14 days. During this period, the extent of the spread of the virus will be assessed and the necessary treatment applied. Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave the declaration order on Friday, designating the entire island a disaster area under the Disaster Risk Management Act.
So what it also means is that the JCF and the JDF has been deployed. There will be restrictions on movement in and out of the community. The Ministry of Health has made provisions to provide food packages, water supply where necessary, obviously medicine. We're not treating this like a curfew. And I want the citizens there to feel that the state is imposing a security cordon on them. This is for their own benefit as well as for the rest of Jamaica's benefit.
Meanwhile, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton says the decision to quarantine the communities was taken after a number of individuals linked to the first person who tested positive for COVID-19 started showing symptoms that suggested that they are ill or becoming ill.
What that means basically is that we would call on the other agencies of government as part of the National Disaster Response Committee that the Prime Minister chairs, a secretariat being, of course, in an OPM in the Ministry of Local Government. So the Constabulary, the JDF, the Ministry of Labor, of course, Ministry of Health, and other agencies to work with the community in a way that would minimize movement outside of the community, give all the necessary support to the community members, but effectively, that community would be under a quarantine situation.
Health workers have been deployed in the 7 and 8 miles communities to do temperature checks and collect data, which include travel history or contact with persons with recent travel history.
We really want to support the community, and as I said, health education, providing the necessary medical support as needed. So we will be in constant communication. We will be there on the ground as well, in constant communication with the security forces, with the JDF and the JCF, to identify persons who may be ill, to reach them early, and to be able to offer them assistance. So it is going to be a very intensive 2-week period, but we are hoping that within that 2-week period, we are going to limit any further spread of the infection.
Meanwhile, Attorney General Marlene Malahoo Fort says the Emergency Powers Act and the Public Health Act are in place to support the quarantine order. These will give the health minister and local board the authority in relation to COVID-19 and its prevention to do whatever is necessary to arrest the spread of the disease.
The Public Health Act, again, authorizes the medical officer health or persons authorized in writing by the Minister of Health or the local board the right of entry upon any private premises to take action considered necessary in the interest of public health. So it means,
say that in standard,
right,
in standard
which
Jamaica.
means that if there is suspicion that something is happening in your private places, the minister may authorize entry there to investigate. It requires no warrant. It doesn't need your permission, because the step is being taken to prevent the spread of the disease.
In seeking the cooperation of community members, Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson clarified the role of the Joint Security Team.
A few days and probably the past week, we've been taking some of our members through specific training to do this type of operation. So those people have been deployed now for this purpose. And it's really, as you say, to protect the wider community of Jamaica and protect those people inside and just slow or reduce the chances of transmission into and out of the community. Obviously, our own members will be taking precautions to protect themselves as well. And so it's really important that people cooperate with our verbal instructions so that we can have everything running smoothly. As I say, it's all for in everyone's best interest and for everyone's protection.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says it has closed 3 of its consulate offices in countries amidst the outbreak of the coronavirus COVID-19. These include offices in New York, Washington, D.C., and London from March 16 to 20. Portfolio Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith says the situation will be assessed during this period for a decision of an extension if necessary. She was speaking at a media briefing on Thursday.
This is a precautionary measure to protect persons from spreading the virus by limiting nationals having to gather to access services in person and, of course, the transit to our relevant missions. Instead, we're recommending the use of online passport and mail-in applications, as well as other services, and the use of telephone inquiries where appropriate.
Meanwhile, in an update on Jamaicans in China, the Foreign Affairs Minister says 589 nationals were identified and registered, with 28 in Wuhan. The number comprised 260 students, 273 workers, and 56 dependents of persons working. Minister Johnson-Smith says through partnership, the ministry was able to coordinate requests for support and provide assistance to the Jamaicans.
We continue to give thanks that we have not been made aware of any Jamaican in China who has been infected by the virus. We can also state that we are aware formally of 14 nationals having returned to Jamaica, including 7 students, but we do understand that there may have been persons who have also returned without notifying us. We do know, however, that those of whom we are aware have cooperated with the public health guidelines as issued by the Ministry of Health regarding quarantine. And we presume the same would be in respect of the others, given the general approach of our immigration officials.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the industry is implementing the COVID-19 protocols established by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. These include developing the required infrastructure to contain the spread of the virus, providing support to the Health Ministry, and educating all stakeholders about the disease. Minister Bartlett says the implementation process will be monitored closely by the special assigned staff of the Tourism Product Development Company, TPDCO. Giving the update at a press briefing on Friday, Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says the health security of industry workers is now a priority.
And the building of what we call clinical resilience is the bedrock of what will make the industry survive over time. But clinical resilience is about protecting primarily and first the workers of the industry. It's for the workers to understand how to deal with the hygienic conditions and the epidemiological environment in which they are operating.
And finally, the deadline for the filing of income tax returns for the 2019-2020 fiscal year has moved from March 16 to March 25 without penalty.
This means that companies, partnerships, self-employed persons, and employed persons with other sources of income will now have until March 25, 2020 to file their income tax returns for the 2019 filing period and estimated returns for 2020.
Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, was speaking at a recent press conference at Jamaica House. Persons are being asked to call 888-TAX-HELP or visit jamaicatax.gov.jm for more information. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Hear how the Office of the Prime Minister will be spending its $17.5 billion budgetary allocation for the 2020-2021 financial year next.
Increased social intervention programs, more funding for climate adaptation, greater push towards providing services through identity authentication. Just some of the working targets of the Office of the Prime Minister in the 2020-2021 fiscal year as government continues its quest for First Nation status by the year 2030. With a $4.8 billion increase in its budget for the 2020-2021 financial year, the Office of the Prime Minister has set its sights on expanding growth-inducing projects. $10.8 billion of its $17.4 billion budget will cover recurrent expenses, while the rest will support capital programs. The Jamaica Information Service and the Registrar General's Department are expected to assume $905 million of their operational costs through the provision of services. Capital projects in the Office of the Prime Minister total $6.6 billion for the financial year. The lion's share, or $1.9 billion in support, will be through the Jamaica Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Program. Already, ground has been broken for the $950 million Port Royal Street Revetment project aimed at increasing Kingston's resilience to climate change. Expected results are the construction of a 1-kilometer sea wall, drainage and road improvement, as well as an 80-meter fishing beach.
This intervention will secure the Port Royal Street corridor and to protect critical infrastructure along the coastline from the impacts associated with sea level rise and coastal erosion.
3 fire stations, 4 pumper trucks, and the development of a national risk information platform will also be covered by the Jamaica Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Program. $1.6 billion will be spent on the implementation of the National Identification System NIDS for economic growth. An Inter-American Development Bank-funded project, the 2020-2021 fiscal target will prioritize the revision of the NIDS policy and bill. The Registrar General's Department Technology Infrastructure Data Center and 6 pilot enrollment sites will be undertaken in the year. And the ongoing Youth Employment in Digital and Animation Industries YEDI program will be funded to the tune of $986 million. Anticipated targets include the 4th staging of the Kingston 4 Animation Festival in 2021 and the execution of an apprenticeship program for 80 animators. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund JSIF will continue to manage its flagship programs, the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Poverty Reduction Program. The Basic Needs Trust Fund's $775 million budget will cover the rehabilitation of farm roads, upgrade of rural primary schools, as well as the further development of tourism and agriculture enterprises. In the meantime, 7 health centers, 8 police stations, and 2 road sections are expected to be completed, with the $339.7 million allotted to the Poverty Reduction Program. The 2020-2021 capital budget of the Office of the Prime Minister will help to enhance access to markets and build climate resilience in rural communities. Through a $100 million injection, the second phase of the Rural Economic Development Initiative, Red Eye 2, will assist 200 agriculture and tourism micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. An estimated 70,000 persons, including youth and women, are expected to benefit from investment initiatives, training, and capacity building.
This program, we're targeting close to 500,000 in single grants to the beneficiaries of these small, medium enterprises.
It is hoped that this action will ignite in every single Jamaican the understanding, the will and the commitment to play their part in making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
As individuals, we have to act in smart ways, follow advice and information provided by the government. I urge you, ignore the fake news, stop circulating the nonsense that is being put sometimes out there. Use your own sense of proper context. In other words, sometimes, on my phone, I see all kinds of things come. And what I recognize is that it distracts me. It shifts my attention because you have to be looking at all kinds of things, whereas you really need to be focused. And you can imagine if that is the case all around. So at this stage, you can rest assured that this government is going to communicate with you. We are going to use all channels to provide you with correct, legitimate, accurate information and timely information, no matter what hour of the night.
What can a little germs do?
Pink eye, running belly, even flu. Germs can make them happen to you.
Put germs on our manners with these. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Always wash your hand with water and soap. Keep dirty hands from your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to be sick, take care. Practice every day, no germs down here.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security will be spending $13 billion on projects and programs targeting vulnerable groups, which includes the disabled community, in the new fiscal year. While the government continues to provide access to social services, you too can engage the disabled community. Find out how next.
Some things we may say. No. Thank you. Goodbye. Excuse me.
Yes. Please. Hello. I'm sorry.
Wanna play? What's up? Stop. What's a Wi-Fi password?
Come. Wait. Where's the bathroom? What's your name?
Drink. Water. What's the name of your school? Where's the town?
Taxi, bus park, shop.
How to get a deaf person's attention. Don't shout at me. Don't throw anything at me. That's dangerous. You can walk beside me and touch me on my shoulder lightly, or you can wave at me. If I'm in a room, you can flicker the lights.
Maintain eye contact. Ensure you're looking directly at the person you're speaking with. Try not to let your eyes wander. Also, it's best to communicate in a room that has good lighting. If it's too dark, communication will be difficult.
Please, make sure you don't have anything in your hands when you're talking to me.
If you cannot sign, you can write, draw, show a picture, or text.
Another way you can communicate with me is by using gestures. You can use your body and your hands to speak. For example, if you don't know the sign for bus, you could use this sign. If you don't know the sign for stop, you could use this gesture.
Ending family violence is everybody's business. Watch as Prime Minister Andrew Holness shares how the public can help the state end violence within the home.
Public crisis of epidemic proportions. And I don't want to use the term epidemic in the current context, but the epidemiology of the situation suggests that it is not a private social transaction. It is costing and having an impact on the public good. And therefore, the government has to intervene. This argument about it is man and woman business, meaning it is a private business in which the state has no locus, that is utter nonsense. If you beat up your woman, it has an impact on the state. It has an impact on the children who will grow up to probably becoming abusers or acceptors of abuse. It has an impact on our murder rate. It has an impact on the well-being generally of the community. It creates an acceptance of violence as the means of resolving conflict. And it has an impact on our economy. When an abused woman can't go to work, or when someone dies as the breadwinner, it has an impact. So this is not man and woman business. This is now the business of the people of Jamaica, and thereby the government of Jamaica will intervene.
For the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology to achieve its main tasks in the 2020-2021 fiscal year, it has been allotted over $6.4 billion. Additional funding of $696 million will be coming from the government and its multilateral and bilateral partners. These are outlined in the 2020-2021 estimates of expenditure. $629 million has been set aside for the Energy Management and Efficiency Program for 2020-2021. That money will be used to continue energy retrofitting work on the Falmouth, Mandeville, Kingston Public and Victoria Jubilee hospitals. It will also allow the ministry to begin energy retrofits at another 7 hospitals and conduct a lighting audit of 50 public buildings. Meanwhile, $67 million is earmarked to enhance the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Program. The work will include developing national guidelines for the disposal of hazardous waste and conducting an energy efficiency or conservation awareness survey. AC retrofits will also be completed at several Jamaica Constabulary Force locations. The projects are being funded by the European Union, the Inter-American Development Bank, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and the Government of Jamaica.
Interventions such as these are directly in line with the Government of Jamaica's strategy for delivering sustainable economic growth, which is underpinned by the drive to secure affordable and reliable energy supplies for our country.
Research and development is top priority for the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. $785 million has been earmarked to increase awareness and investments in this area. Several organizations will be benefiting from this, including the Scientific Research Council, the International Center for Environment and Nuclear Science, and the National Commission on Science and Technology. $3.1 billion will be utilized to increase access and use of information and communications technology in all sectors of the economy and to modernize the government's ICT governance framework. Of that total, eGov Jamaica will spend $1.8 billion to reduce the government's ICT cost, implement GovNet projects, promote efficiency and effectiveness in government, and facilitate a more responsive public sector. Energy management and implementation will be further supported with a budget of $409 million. With this budget, the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology will be able to continue the vision of creating a sustainable environment that ensures energy security and innovation through science and technology.
And that is how we close out Jamaica Magazine, but only for today. We return tomorrow around about the same time with another informative program. Stay in touch with us. Visit our website, follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be sure to download our mobile app. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.